we're done today? Well, since it's 6 o'clock, should we call the meeting to order?
Okay.
A regular board meeting of the Board of Education was called to order at 6 o'clock on May 11th, 2020. Opening statement: due to the current federal and state emergency declarations, the governor's executive order to stay at home, the guidance limiting person-to-person contact due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, this meeting of the Montevideo School Board is being conducted in accordance with Minnesota statutes, meetings by telephone or other electronic means. Due to the pandemic, it has been determined that it is not feasible for all board members to be physically present at the regular board meeting location, and that it is not feasible for the public to attend a regular board meeting. The superintendent of schools will be present at the regular meeting location. School board members. We will also be live streaming it on YouTube. So the link is there. School board members are reminded to mute their microphone or phone when not speaking. When recognized, the board members should unmute their microphone, speak, and then mute their device. All votes will be conducted by roll call vote. Each school board member should wait until their name is called before voting. Persons monitoring the meeting from a remote location may submit comments through following email address: address the board at montevideoschools.org. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded. Access to the recording will be made available on the district website as soon as it is reasonably possible. Balkan, I'm here. Travis Beranzel.
Travis is here.
Thank you, Travis. Joe Halverson.
Present.
Thank you, Joe. Maggie Kluber.
Here.
Kelly Snell.
Here.
And Andrew Stenson.
Present.
Okay. Superintendent Heller.
Yes.
Principal Hickey.
Yes, sir.
Principal Huntley.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Principal Sprung.
Present.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Approval of agenda. There was one addition. Resignation. Andrew Kinman. And that's under 1.5.4.2 under resignations. And he is a custodian at many places. 4.2 under resignations. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Travis will move to accept.
Thank you, Travis. Anybody want to take a second?
Second.
Thank you, Andrew. Kelly. We're gonna vote. So, Kelly, you're muted. You're muted, Kelly. Okay, Andrew.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Thank you. Travis, you vote,
Aye.
please. Okay. Who are we missing?
Joe.
Joe.
Joe, aye.
Thank you, Joe. And Darren is aye. So passes unanimously. Resolution accepting a gift, donation, bond contribution, or request. Minnesota Valley Cooperative Light and Power donated $400 to the Book Buddies program. Southwest Initiative Foundation Glenn and Jacqueline Herford, $2,900 for crib surveillance. Does anybody, system at the Little Thunder Hawk Daycare. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept the donation contribution or request?
Joe, so moved.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone want a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie.
That was Kelly who seconded?
Yeah.
Oh, was it Kelly? Sorry. I thought it was Maggie.
Did we skip 1.5?
Yeah.
Or did I move? Oh,
We
consent
can come
agenda.
back to that after you finish this one.
We can come back to consent agenda. Sorry about that, you guys. Roll call vote. Andrew.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Darren is an aye. Travis. Travis?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you, thank you. And we'll go back to 1.5, sorry. Does anybody want to make a motion on approval of consent agenda?
So move. Maggie Kluber. Sorry.
Thank you, Maggie. Second?
Second, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. And we might have already done motion and second, I'm sorry about that. Roll call vote. Andrew.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
And Darren is an aye.
Joe is an aye.
Sorry, Joe. Thank you. It's hard to keep track. Everybody's not on the screen at the same time, so. 1.7, superintendent's report.
Okay, just a couple of items or several items. First, administrators' summer work schedules. Our administrators will be working 40-hour weeks through the summer. However, the number of days may vary. Several of them are going to work a shortened day once a week, and some are going to just go with 4-day weeks. So those will be varied a little. A budget update. As we know, we found out here in the past week that there was a budget forecast deficit in May of $2.4 billion. That's about a $3.6 billion swing from what it had been in February. The impact of that is that we have still some confidence that the 2% aid increase for 2020-2021 may remain in place. However, beyond the 2021 school year, we are expecting that there'll be some lean years financially for school districts. There's a good likelihood that they'll be very lean in the next biennium, and we could even see that moving on forward a little further. We are currently building our current budget based on the status quo and allowing for that 2% increase. So we will see the benefit of that in there. ICS and RAP Strategies are working with us currently to prepare a bond referendum survey to find out kind of where our public is with the past referendum, the information they had, and we'll be working further on that later this week. and sending that out. Probably by the June meeting, we should have a report for the board as to the results of that survey. It'll give a little additional information for your use as we continue to look forward as to what our next steps are relative to referendums. And we will be having some discussion on that under the discussion items. Future board meetings, the regular June meeting will be June 8th. The end of the year board meeting will be June 29th. And that's where we finalize the current fiscal year and start the next fiscal year, and also take action on our budgets. The August board meeting, which is currently scheduled for Monday, August 10th, may or may not need to be adjusted on a date, possibly to the 17th next week. That is when the MSBA summer conference is. However, we may not be having conferences at that point in time. So we'll wait until we get closer before we worry about that.
Thank you, Dr.
Administrative and board retreats, the administrators are scheduled for their retreat on the 15th through the 17th of June. The board's retreat is the 17th through the 19th, with some overlap on the 17th for a joint session on the trust edge. At this point, I would say that probably we'll be looking at putting together some type of a virtual retreat for that. I'm not sure that they're going to be allowing yet on site, but we will see it. We'll have a little better idea after Monday, and we find out what happens with the current stay-at-home order.
Right. Dr. Eller,
Yes.
is there a time set for that June meeting, for the end of the year meeting, or not yet?
The end of the year meeting is set for 6 o'clock.
Okay.
On which date? Sorry.
Okay, a piece of good news. Montevideo was named a winner of the School Finance Award, and a good deal of credit for this should go to our business manager, to Adam Spray. This award is given out for the timely submission of all financial data, the meeting of the various indicators of fiscal health, things such as the fund balance and reporting accuracy. And Montevideo was one of a number of schools honored with that award. And that was one of Adam's goals for this year, was to achieve that. And he did achieve that goal. So hats off go to him, and it speaks well of our district. So
Congratulations, Adam.
in Mr. Hickey's report later on in the meeting, under the principal reports, he will be speaking about the process for selecting the next representative for the school board from the students for the 2021 school year. And he will also be speaking about the progress they're making in making plans for graduation. So those will come in Mr. Hickey's report.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
What date was that end of the year meeting?
The end of the year was on the 29th, June
Okay.
29th,
Thank you.
at 6 o'clock.
June 29th, right?
Yes. And I am finished.
At 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Committee reports. Staff development. Travis, were you at that meeting?
Which meeting was that? Sorry.
Staff development meeting.
No,
I was
no, not, no.
Okay. Vera, do you have anything to say about that meeting?
Yes, our staff development meeting was held the second Tuesday of April. And the biggest piece that we were discussing, typically we have a staff recognition dinner and at the end of the year. And there's been some ongoing conversations about attendance at that staff recognition dinner. And so we, previous to that, had talked about some different things that maybe we could employ to maybe draw some more staff. And one of those things we talked about was having it at another location. And so I looked into having it, we checked into having it at someplace maybe like the VFW or the American Legion. So that was part of our conversations. And we also looked at how can we maybe instead of honoring people at the end of the year, maybe start honoring people for their longevity at the beginning of the year. So that was something that was discussed. And of course, this was a virtual meeting.
Right.
And so right now we won't be having our meeting in May. That's kind of traditional in a sense. Because usually our staff recognition dinner would have been kind of the final thing for the school year. But we are looking at, having that hopefully in the fall. But with so much uncertainty, we just don't know, what's going to happen for sure. But we're just looking into how we're going to recognize our staff next fall. That was kind of the main purpose of that meeting.
Well, thank you, Vera.
You're welcome.
I couldn't be there at that meeting, so thank you for the update.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Transportation, May, do you want to say something?
We met, was it a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And we only had one bid, and that was from our current provider. I think, was there about a 3% increase overall?
Yep.
And so I think, and that should be on for later for approval. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Thank you. Student Representative Marty.
So distance learning is still going on. It's the same as it was. It's still going good. A lot of students are preparing for their finals, as in seniors are preparing for their AP test that takes place on Wednesday. Seniors have 9 days left of school, whereas everyone else has 12 days of school left. It's May, so all the senior planning is still being continued. We've got committees for commencement, the senior banquet, the baccalaureate, and the scholarship tea. Everything's planned to go as scheduled, but over virtually, of course. We have student representatives as well as parent representatives on each of the boards to make sure that all voices and opinions are being considered. The most upcoming committee is the baccalaureate, and that will take place on Wednesday. And we are recording it and putting it on both YouTube and Facebook. The seniors were given personal signs to put in their driveway, recognizing them, and they were also asked to take a picture with them, which was put into a picture collage that is going on Facebook. And seniors are also being recognized on Facebook, so every day there's a senior profile that is given the seniors' pictures, the seniors' name, what school they're attending, and what major they're going for.
Thank you. Principal Hickey.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Sean.
All right. So first thing first is the picking of the new student representative. Tegan's done a great job, but obviously she won't be here anymore. So we need to replace her. Not that you did anything wrong, obviously, Tegan. But what we're looking at is this week an application will go out to, normally what we do is we have the applications in the office. The idea being that I let all the juniors know they have to show some initiative to come in and get it. However, we can't do that. So I'm going to send out a application to all of the juniors, and they will have a week to complete it and submit it. And then we will look at the week of, hopefully, depending on what works for the other people that are on the committee to select the next school board rep. I would like to have virtual interviews on either the 28th and or 29th of May if possible. However, given our students have their technology and most likely will be keeping them over the summer, we could push that off to the following week in June if we wanted to get through the last week of school. So there is some flexibility there based upon the individuals that will be on the selection committee.
Thank you.
So that's that. Graduation. So where we are at right now is we're actually in a very good spot. Unfortunately, not all the schools in our area are in a good spot, because if you take your time and you work with MDE frequently, especially in my previous job, I had to do that a lot. They hint at what they're going to do before they actually do it. So we were well prepared, and everything that we had, except for one small detail, is allowable by MDE for our graduation ceremony. So as Tegan said, we do have a student committee that does all the planning. The students decide graduation, not the adults. However, we do have a parent, staff, and student committee to work out logistics and problem solve. That committee met for the first time as the MDE guidance came out on Friday. So we met just at 4 o'clock today to discuss some options. The student committee is going to consider a few things tomorrow. And we do have to ask our seniors a couple last things, that how they want their graduation to go. The idea is that we have most of the things figured out. We know that it is going to be a drive-in type of movie style of a graduation at the high school parking lot. We know that. There are a couple items in play. To give you guys some of the details, each student is allowed one car per student with their immediate family attending in the vehicle. Now, I'm not going car to car to see who's in the vehicle, but each student will have one car. It has to be an enclosed vehicle, no open air, backs of trucks, convertibles are not allowed. We are working with KDMA, and they've been great. They are going to live stream the ceremony itself on the internet as well as the airwaves of KDMA. They will pre-record speeches that we will be able to have good sound quality and be able to put that out over the airwaves on the internet and KDMA itself. So that's a really good thing. We are toying with the idea of a slideshow and a drive-in movie screen. That's something that the seniors are going to have to vote on, because the issues with the screen are it's not very visible during the daylight hours, which would affect how we do the ceremony a little bit and at least push the time back to work with the amount of light that is available if that's something we choose to do. We're going to let students decorate their cars. I thought that'd be a fun little touch, and the kids seem to be pretty pumped up about that. But we have a few different options that are available. We know the way the ceremony is going to go. It's going to align very closely to what we do, and we're going to try and mirror what we do in a normal graduation ceremony. We want to be able to have the kids come up in cars that are decorated and be recognized when I say their name. That'll be the only live part of the ceremony itself. We are looking into the possibility of having a parade. I'm working with Chief Shuley right now on doing that. The city is not opposed to that. However, if the city manager and the chief of police are on board with that, they will propose to the city council on Monday to allow a parade to happen, and we are working with them on that. So having a parade is contingent on city approval. We are looking at, can we add a more personalized touch? That's where the screen comes in, of having a senior slideshow that we can show, and also being able to project up the student's picture when we do call their name for graduation. But like I said, that would cause some changes because we're still testing the screen right now, and it's not looking good for working during high sunlight. We do have organization worked out. Students will be assigned a number based upon alphabetical order. Numbers will be placed on 17th Street, similar to what we do with homecoming. So students will come in with their cars, park in individual areas, or individual numbers. Right before we start the ceremony, then we will block off the rest of the street, and there will be assigned parking within the parking lot itself. Students will enter, we'll be playing pomp and circumstance with the cars coming in. They'll go to their areas, and then we will start the ceremony itself. So whether or not the parade happens beforehand as sort of a processional to work with daylight hours, or if it happens afterward, if the ceremony itself happens during daylight hours, is yet to be determined, and something that the seniors will have a chance to vote on. And we are sending out a student survey, hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, to all the seniors to ask some of these last questions to clarify some of the things that they'll have a choice on.
Thank you, Scott.
So questions, comments, concerns?
When do you expect to have the time nailed down?
I would like to have it if we get the survey out to kids today, tomorrow. I would like to say by Friday. I would have it due by the morning. Give them 2 days. We don't have to give them a long time for them to have their say. I would like to have it locked down by the end of this week.
Okay. We don't expect the MDE or whatever to budge on their current stance, or they think they'll stick with this time?
Well, let me tell you this. I would be very surprised if they did. They take a long time to put things out. They put a lot of thought into this, and MDE really tries to make things as fair as possible, right, wrong, or indifferent. I would, unless there is some intervention by the legislature and or the governor, which I don't think will happen, at least at this time, I don't see these guidelines changing.
Okay.
Good. So you've done a good job in planning it out.
Thank you. Joe, did you have a question?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, with the group that you've got going, which seems like it consists of faculty, parents, and students, and you're going to send out a student survey. And with some of the concerns and with like the lighting and stuff, are you going to give them an option if they wanted to start graduation a little later in the day or something like that, or the date and time locked in?
Right now, we'd like to keep it on Sunday. I think that's preferential. Doesn't mean that we can't look at something different within that weekend. For example, if we were to go later, obviously going later and given the sunset time we have right now, or to go around dusk, puts you at about 8:30. We anticipate our ceremony will last about 50 minutes. So that might be something that if that were to occur, it might be worth looking at a Saturday. But we are going to give the students a chance to know those couple options and what that looks like. The students can discuss that with their parents. But right now, these students are not getting a lot of the normal spring type of activities and the normal commencement. There are some things that are relatively minor like this that allow them to have more personalization that really doesn't affect us much logistically. That if that's something they want to do, we definitely can work with them on that. So we are looking at a couple of those different options. If we did have to move it back, we could look at a date change, and that would just be pushing it back a day. However, I would like to stay on the 31st because that's what people are planning for.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you handling
Thank you,
diploma?
Scott.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kelly. What's your question?
How are you handling diplomas?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Right now, Jostens and I are at war. We're going to get everything. It's all going to happen. However, it's not happening the way that I want, and I would like to look for another vendor next year. But what's going to happen is we have the diplomas. The covers we do not have, and they're not delivered, even though we ordered them in January. They will not deliver them to anyone until 4 days prior to graduation. My goal is to get the covers out to the to the seniors ahead of time, so that might be something that could be included in the slideshow. Originally, we have the stage set up in the gym. We were going to have parents come in, get their caps and gowns, and have an opportunity to take a picture on the stage with their family, and we were going to have a professional photographer, who's also my secretary, take a picture for them, and we were going to provide that, and we could put that in a slideshow potentially. However, MDE guidelines do not allow for that to happen. So right now, we are set up to give gowns to our seniors for pickup starting tomorrow. However, our rep for Jostens just came by today bringing the caps and tassels, and half of the caps were royal blue. That's not what we ordered. So we had a nice conversation, and he guaranteed me that we would have our caps in short order. So there's a couple things that I'm working with him on that. We have about half of them. So I did send out a message today to seniors and their parents that for people that would like them for pictures, and for the students that are involved in baccalaureate like Tegan, they will be able to get their materials, their cords, honor cords, all that type of stuff right now. So. And just so you know, we are sticking with board as far as honor and distinguished honor cords. I mathematically figured out everybody that, who's guaranteed and locked in for certain cords. We have distributed those cords, and the kids that are still on the border of getting those, the cords or stoles, they will be notified by me that I will watch their grades on the 22nd, and I will hand deliver anything that they may need. So that way we're sticking with what was decided by the board a short time ago. But the majority of the cords and stoles are determined already, and they are going out to the kids already. So we're trying to limit how much interaction we have with them. And as far as diplomas themselves, we will have the seniors will have to return their Chromebooks and their texts, pay their fees, all this stuff they normally do at the end of the year. But as I said in an email to parents the other day, we have something they want, which is their diploma. So we're going to get all that back. So we will open up as soon as the guidelines of the state allow us to have people start coming back in. We will stagger a schedule to allow for social distancing where seniors can come in and return their materials, pick up their envelopes as normal. Don't try to keep it as normal as possible. And we can adjust with the diploma covers when we get them. Right now they're telling me we might be able to get them on the 26th, which is really I'm hopeful for. So if people do want to take pictures with the diploma covers or get them early, we can do that, because one of the stipulations of MDE is you cannot distribute anything at your graduation ceremony. There can be nothing that goes from household to household. So we were hoping those are the couple small things that we were hoping for that were not allowed to happen, that we are making adjustments for.
Thank you, Scott.
To answer your question, I got a little long-winded there.
That's okay, yeah.
Fine.
You did at the end. I got it.
Okay. Everybody good? Can I mute myself?
You did
Thank you,
well.
Scott.
Fantastic, thank you.
Principal Huntley.
Yeah, just a couple things here. I know that seniors and graduations and all those are definitely bigger items to talk about at this time of year. So I just wanted to update you guys a little bit. Rather than our kids in the community, we had our Community for Kids that we're doing, where we're providing food and household items to families in need. And currently we've served 17 families with a cost of about $900 for those 17 families. So they're utilizing it, and it's wonderful to help support our families in the community. And then currently working on summer programming through distance learning with our targeted services program and our extended school year. So in the process of getting those numbers and teachers lined up for distance learning for our summer programming. So those are the two items that I have for you guys.
Any questions for Sean?
Mine's a general question. So either Dr. Heller or Mr. Hickey said something about students keeping their Chromebooks over the summer. What's the update on that?
So MDE has recommended that students that typically take devices home, that they be allowed to keep them over the summer in order to maintain connectivity and in order to continue on with potential learning. And so we are looking at, for our students that were in grades 6 through 11, at those students keeping their devices, we will go ahead and gather up the devices then from the younger students and then also from the seniors who are leaving us.
Okay. Hey, thanks.
Have any other questions for Sean? Okay, hearing none, move on to 2.1. Dr. Hiller, do you want to lead us in that discussion?
Sure. So for a discussion item this evening, I put on the referendums, and this is really a twofold issue. We've got an operating referendum that is coming due in the next couple of years. We actually have two opportunities to pass and redo our operating referendum. One would be this November, and the next would be the November following that. Originally, this was about a $900 operating referendum, and over the past several years, the legislature has moved $724 of that to board approved. And that's actually the amount of money that we are utilizing for our actual operations of the school district. That's the amount that we needed extra for operations. That leaves about $156 in an operating referendum, most of which has been used to fund our technology initiative. We broke that into two questions back in 2011 when we ran the referendum for the purpose of trying to make sure that we could get our referendum passed, and then also so that we could talk about a portion of that we were going to really designate for technology.
Yeah.
And we focused on having about $100 a pupil unit really earmarked for technology. And towards that end, we managed to keep that strictly on devices, on infrastructure, on the development of our wireless network, on bringing originally smart boards into the classrooms, all things went in and directly impacted kids. One of the big arguments you hear with operating referendums are people say, well, it's just more money for teachers. Well, with this operating referendum that we're going to be renewing, none of that went into salaries, not even our technology director's salary. All of it went towards technology for kids. So I think that we need to look at running this initially this coming November. We've got two shots at it. If we don't have it passed by the end of by November of 2021, then at the end of that school year, that levy goes away, and so does our one-to-one initiative.
Right.
So I think it's really important to focus on that.
And Scott did a wonderful job keeping that money separate for technology, you know?
Yes, he did.
Yep.
This will be another 10-year operating.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, it would be a very small amount when we go out and talk to the public about that.
Are we gonna put forth a campaign similar to the one we did when we passed, or similar to like this one we did for the building referendum? Because I mean, are we gonna be out front and pushing this, or?
Yes, I would say that on this, we would do a campaign similar to what we did on the last operating referendum campaign.
Right. And how much is the operating levy referendum, Dr. Eller?
$156.76.
Oh. Well, that'll be a little easier than, we had 900 last time, right?
Right.
And are you planning on going with the same amount, or is there a need to increase that?
$156.76.
But my question is, that's what it is now. Is there a need to increase that?
I don't believe there is, but I think Scott could speak to that if he has any additional input.
Well, there's a fine line, of course, between asking what you think will pass and the risk you take in not having it pass if you ask for more than people are willing to spend. I'm comfortable with the dollar amount that we have right now to continue to support the initiative that we have right now. One of the big needs the district has is a new phone system, and there wouldn't be enough money in this referendum to do anything with that, nor is it really in the spirit of what the referendum's for, which is technology for the classroom, right? So, it's probably a moot point. I think we can continue to support our one-to-one initiative and the infrastructure needed to support the devices with the dollar amount that we have right now. And I think that, it's going to be easy to show people where every dollar is gone. And I look forward to doing that. Actually, when you talk about the campaign side of this, is I've got spreadsheets that show where every dollar is gone for every year of the 10 years we've had this referendum.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily meaning just for technology, because this isn't just a technology referendum, it's a general operating referendum. Is there a need for additional money in the general operating budget, or are we okay to continue as we are with the current money we have?
Right now, we're okay, but as we move forward over the next couple of years, that remains to be seen as to whether or not we stay there. I think that as we get into the summer, we'll be able to get a better handle on that, and it might be worth taking a look at some increase in there.
Right.
But we do have the $724 that is over on the board approved side.
Is that general operating levy referendum, Dr. Eller?
Pardon?
Is that general levy? That's 724?
That's 724. It's what came out of the operating referendum.
Right. Okay.
As they moved some of that authority over to being board approved.
Yep.
So a levy of $200 or even $250 a pupil might not be out of line, depending upon how things are beginning to look at that time.
Right.
When do we need to have all that sorted out to get it on the ballot?
Early August.
So not a whole lot of time.
Right.
So that's where we are with the operating referendum. The other item that we need to begin considering is the bond referendum. As we know, the referendum failed that we ran.
Yep.
We need to decide how we wish to move forward. And my recommendation would be, if we're moving forward with it, we look at using one of the dates in 2021 for that election. What's remaining in this year, August of 2020, we can't meet those timelines at this point. And the November election, I think there's still a lot of uncertainty there. So my recommendation would be that we start giving thought to what we want to do and looking at something in 2021 if we're going to go back to the voters again.
Right.
I'd agree with that. I think that we need to, if we need the bond or the general levy to pass, we'd be foolish to run the building levy again.
Right.
Right.
So both the dollar amount for the operating referendum and the more importantly, the long-term planning for the building referendum, those are things we could talk about in June at our, partially at our regular meeting, but certainly at our retreat, right?
Absolutely.
We can dig into the strategy around dates and things for the 2021 initiative, and then by the board meeting in June, administration, you guys could probably have some figures around what an extra $100 or a couple figures and a couple things that would be meaningful conversation at the June meeting as it relates to the operating referendum, and then we can at least give some more specific feedback on that and kind of tie that thing up at the retreat perhaps then as well.
That's workable.
Good idea, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Also, at that time, we'll have some information hopefully back from the community on the survey that'll be going out.
Right.
Is that survey just gonna be focused at like a post referendum survey, or is it strategizing moving forward?
It's primarily a post-referendum survey with some with a look to going forward, what might people be considering?
Sure.
But it's not the scientific type of a survey that we had done earlier. This is just to gather some information as to where we're at right now, coming off of the election, and to get some feedback on that.
Might need to go.
Yeah.
Who's developing that survey?
Pardon?
Who's developing that survey?
That's being done with RAP Strategies and ICS. And I've got a conference call with them on Wednesday, I believe.
Dr. Is that being sent out by mail to everybody, or how's that being distributed?
Yes, that's being distributed district-wide.
Okay.
Both of those are good topics for the June board meetings and also for the retreat.
Yep, thank you.
Dr. Heller, one last quick question. Are we entered into any type of a contract with ICS and or the marketing or campaign, or are we entered into a contract? And if so, how long?
I would have to check on what the status of that. I don't know if either Todd or Mike is still online.
Mike, I know, left.
Mike left? Okay.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the date was on the contract. I know that it was to go through the amount that we had originally on there was to go through the referendum. election.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. We'll move on to 3.0 action items. 3.1, approval of contract for transportation services 2020, 2021, and 21-22. Transportation Committee, may say something. Maggie, do you want to say anything, or?
No, I don't have anything to say about it, but I'll move the approval of the contract.
Okay, the quote called for a 3% increase in the base contract of 2 years, of the 2 years of the contract. 2.5% annual increase in mileage rate for transportation outside the base contract, as well as a couple of language changes. And Maggie made a motion to accept the contract from Clark Transportation. Does anybody want a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Andrew?
Darren, I have a question quick. I didn't get it in there quick enough.
Oh, discussion, okay, discussion?
Yeah, what's the difference between the 3% on the base contract and the 2.5% on the mileage? Why is there a difference?
The
Dr. Miller will answer you.
the 3% is on the flat contract rates for the routes.
Okay,
2.5 are on the various, the rates for example, for running a special ed route, for running the activity trips.
Curricular activity.
It's to cover the increases in costs associated with that. And they've typically not been tied directly together as a single
okay,
amount.
okay, thanks.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Andrew?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Maggie?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
And Joe Helgeson?
Aye.
And Darren is an aye. So, passes unanimously. We'll go on to 3.2, designation of identified official with authority to authorize user access to the MDE security websites. You're the designee, aren't you, Dr. Heller?
I am. That's an annual thing. It's simply the individual who assigns the responsibilities on the website.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion?
So move, Chair.
Thank you. Does anybody want to make a second?
I'll second. Joe?
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Andrew?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Darren is aye.
Maggie?
Passed unanimously. Sorry, what?
Maggie?
Maggie?
Aye.
Sorry, I missed you, Maggie. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm easily forgotten.
No, you are not. Oh, God. Okay, designation of LEA representative for federal programs and grants. Bill Sprung is our representative for federal programs, including Title 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, homeless liaison, and all other federal grants. And Bob Gray is the Title 9 coordinator. And then we're going to make a motion to designate the LEA representatives for federal programs and grants.
So moved.
Thank you, Maggie. Anybody want a second?
That was Kelly.
Oh, sorry, Kelly. See? Maggie, you wanna make a second?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, I'll, roll call vote. Andrew,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Travis,
Aye.
Maggie,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Darren, aye. So it passes unanimously. Does anybody want to make a, motion to adjourn?
So moved. That's Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take, make a second?
Joe, second.
Thanks, Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, answer, roll call vote. Andrew. Aye. Joe.
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Maggie.
Aye.
Darren is an aye also, so unanimously, passes unanimously. Thanks for everybody, doing this virtual thing. I know it takes some time and I forget people because of I don't have their faces on every, box or square.